Hey guys, welcome to More Than a CFO podcast where we just talk to business owners, tell them we like to talk about their journey, where they're going, any challenges that they've been facing. This is a part of my series that I'm doing. And today we got a special guest. I'm going to quickly introduce him and then just ask him a couple questions. We have Richard Miller. And Richard Miller, he's 1 out of 10 builders in Dallas, Texas, with a graduate master builders designation from the National Association of Home Builders, which is rare. There's only 1 out of 10 in Dallas. He's a 20-year seasoned vet in the industry. He's seasoned and polished. And he may be president of Richard Miller Custom Homes, but he loves to keep an intimate process and be very hands-on with every department of his business, which is rare nowadays. Richard, thank you for joining. I look forward to our conversation.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah, no problem. So before we kick off, how did you get here to owning your own business? That's pretty impressive.
Sure. And by the way, I don't know about polish, and they talk about master builder, but the real deal is I'm just a student. Like
just a student, always a student, huh?
Yeah. But yeah, how did I get here? So I actually started working. So I went to Baylor and started working as a degree in psychology, started working as a family counselor. And a couple of years into that, a fellow counselor started with a Fortune 500 home builder. And he, after a few months, said, "Hey, Richard, I think you need to come do a ride along. I think you'd really enjoy this. I think you'd be good at it. And it pays about double what you're making right now." And so the rest was history.
You sold after that one.
20 years ago, yeah. And so I started with a Fortune 500 home builder and was able to make an impact there. After 5 or 6 years, the market downturn happened in 2008, but I was also I wanted to do cooler and cooler stuff, right? I had kind of met the challenge there at the home builder that I was at. And so I started consciously looking for folks that I could perceive were the best builders in Dallas and started to apply for jobs with the ones that I was most attracted to. And so that led to a process of working for and learning from some of the best builders in Dallas. There was an opportunity in 2016 to start my own business. And so that's when I started Richard Miller Custom Homes.
What triggered you to say, okay, let me go start it? Like, did someone make you mad or like what happened?
It's actually a funny story. So I was working as a director of construction for the company that I was working for. And my boss actually made the client mad. And the client came to me and said, "Hey, Richard, we trust you. Would you finish our house?" And I said, "Absolutely." And so that was the catalyst that I needed to just go ahead and step out on my own. I felt like I was ready.
Yeah, I love that because it's so funny. Like any dark moment or bad moment, there's always something good that always comes from it. In this case, Richard Custom Homes.
Yeah. In my experience, the darkest moments are actually the keys to our freedom if we know how to go through it the right way.
So were there any dark moments when you took on this project by yourself?
No, I was actually the project manager for the project and had developed that level of day-to-day trust with the client, which is the same thing we continue today. And so, yeah, that wasn't another day at the office, except for now I was the boss.
Yeah. So you have your first project. How do you grow and scale? Like, how did you become the man that you are today with this business?
Yeah. If I do a best builder, there's some sort of award or something, it's all word of mouth. Yeah. And so it was really stepping out on faith and, trusting that the love that I pour into these projects and the attention to detail is naturally what I want to do, and just trusting that the clients will come. Yeah.
Gotcha. So with me as a CPA, I talk to a lot of business owners, right? Mm-hmm. You'll be amazed, no matter how big or small the company is, sometimes they always struggle or they always have like a light bulb moment where they're like, hey, I need to build standard operating procedures in order to really grow and scale the business. Yeah. Did that ever click to you? Is that something you implemented in order to scale? Can you talk about that moment?
Yeah. So actually at the Fortune 500 home builder, and then actually at every stop along the way before I started my own company, one of the things that I'm gifted at is a particular niche. It's not all of business, right? I'm not a CPA, and that's probably the part that I know the least about. But I'm gifted at, and I enjoy, which is the important part, I enjoy making processes, right? So I enjoy, and so from my beginning in construction all the way through, part of my job, whether I sought it out as nights and weekends work or whether it was officially part of my job title, was to improve the processes of the company. And yeah, so that's something that I can just really nerd out doing.
I think
I mean, essentially, it makes your job easier, right? So that's the payoff.
now, it's very beneficial that you had all the experience before launching your business.
Yeah.
Because you can put your own twist on what you've already been doing and you can implement it in your business right away.
Yeah.
So what does a typical day look like now? Like, you got your years underneath your belt, you're growing already. What's your day look like?
Sure. So a typical day starts with a morning routine that I do. I won't get into a lot of detail about it, but it starts with starting the day off right. It flows from there. Typically, I will either check in with my superintendents or the folks that are on the job that are really watching what's going on a minute by minute basis.
Yeah.
And then flows from there for what what I like to do is take a list of stuff that needs to be done. And I try to look for, let's say, the 3 things on that list that will make the others go away. And
like
on
that.
those.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. I do a thing called the power list where it's like there's
Yeah.
5 things. I'll put it on a paper today.
Yeah.
But there's 5 critical tasks I need in order to make my business go, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it sounds like you do something similar. But I was going to ask you this before the day, because being a business owner, there's so many different things you're worried about: sales, project managing, marketing, all of that. Do you have any routine you do in the morning to get right?
I do.
For example, I go on a run in the morning because I have to go work out.
Yeah.
Or else my day is going to be not good.
Yeah. So I do a routine in the morning that gets me right spiritually, and then I'll go on a walk typically. The important thing for me throughout the day, it doesn't matter what I'm doing, it's actually a clause in my contract now too, is that I want to enjoy what I'm doing. So that morning routine sets me up to be able to understand really what is the next important thing that needs to get done and to enjoy doing that throughout the day rather than being pushed around by a list of things you think you need to get done. Yeah.
I see. And then I heard you mention faith 2 times. Is that something you base your culture of your business around?
It's deep in the way that I was raised and in my family and, the love that gets poured into my projects. I was incredibly, as I realize now, incredibly fortunate to be raised by strong men and women on both sides of my family. And it has been an incredible gift. Yeah.
Yeah. I would think that's like the molding of like a perfect business owner, because I think you need it with all the craziness that goes on with just operating a business. You definitely need it.
Yeah. It's central to me enjoying the process, my clients enjoying the process, and them getting a product that they're super, super happy with. Yeah, for sure.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to talk about a little bit. One of the things I was looking at and had a question about is just the difference of today's market as far as but let me rewind a little bit. Are your customers a little bit more picky and hard to deal with nowadays than before because they want a lot of custom designs in their homes? Is that a thing that's kind of been driving you crazy, or switching up your process?
Well, not really, and I'll explain a little bit. Building a home for someone is a very intimate process. It's a very sacred responsibility, if we want to use that terminology. Clients come to the process with a lot of fear, and justifiably so, given that the residential construction industry in Texas is not regulated. So there's really not a barrier to entry. And a lot of people have had negative experiences with builders as a result. So a lot of times, even with recommendations, clients come with a lot of fear. The pickiness and things like that is kind of fear-based. And typically, once I'm able to connect with them and once they're able to kind of see what our process is like and get a little bit more comfortable, they're more comfortable following me through the process. So I view myself as a tour guide through a successful home build. And once I've established that relationship, typically the negative qualities that may be fear-based in the client tend to relax a little bit.
All right. I think there may be a little bit of lag there. So how do you build that relation where they're completely comfortable and they're like, okay, hey, Richard, you got it. Let me know whatever you need. I want to make this process easy for the both of us.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, part of it comes from track record, right? But the biggest part of it comes from connection, right? So when I show up to a new a client that I've never met before, my first responsibility is to show up 100% as myself with nothing to prove because I don't have anything to prove, and to connect with them. And through that process, and just naturally my experience about what they'd like and what they think their projects should look like or their remodel should look like, that'll naturally flow out. That connection is the most important piece. And we will determine typically pretty quickly, maybe in the first meeting, that they're either the right client for us or that I'm the right builder for them. And we're honest about that from the beginning.
So basically, you're not taking on any type of client.
Oh, no, it's a two-way interview.
I like that. So how did you separate yourself from the competition? Because I feel like, other business owners like, hey, I'm just trying to take in whatever.
Sure. That also just came from experience, right? So taking the times when I've taken a client where I needed it on paper, but I just didn't feel like it was the right fit, and learning from those experiences. Yeah.
Okay. So, and then as far as like any challenges you're facing now, is it mainly just other competitors just because there's no barrier to entry? Or like, what are some other challenges that you're facing?
Yeah, I don't feel like a huge sense of competition, but in the context of barrier to entry, I'm always, I'm always fighting against, those negative experiences that other people have had with contractors. I have to overcome that hurdle every time. It's probably less of a hurdle to overcome for a brain surgeon, right? Because it's a high barrier to entry. Yeah. I always have to make that differentiation and kind of create that space for the homeowner to actually know that they can be comfortable and that they can trust us to lead them through the process.
Gotcha. And I know, from me being a CPA, I have other clients that are developers too as well.
Yeah.
One of the things that they struggle with is kind of duplicating themselves just so they can bring in more sales or get some type of process done faster. Is that something that you struggle with? Or if not, how have you been able to kind of defeat that?
Yeah, so I'm not there yet. So I would love to duplicate myself. And I've made a couple of attempts in the past, and they just haven't quite worked out the way that I wanted. But with what I've learned so far with the kind of experiments with trying to duplicate myself in the past, I feel like that will happen at the right time, and it'll be via the right process. But yeah, I'm actually talking to a friend who's also a builder that's struggling with the same thing, and we're kind of working through what that looks like together.
Believe it or not, it's common with all industries. You got the business owner, how do I replace myself?
Right.
I was dealing with that issue, I want to say 2 years ago, but it kind of switched on me. I needed to basically put a lot of money into training and education and then re-walking through the SOPs again that I created. It's not how I will like it, but it is a big jump from 2 years ago. I'm able to be in Miami at a networking conference while the business is still running and sales are still coming in for us.
Oh, that's awesome.
Owner needs to duplicate himself.
Yeah, it's a challenge. Yeah.
Okay. So what does the next journey look like for you? Are you looking to grow in different markets? Are you coming into Houston or maybe a different state?
Yeah, I mean, I would be open to that. I was actually just talking to someone about an opportunity in Austin. And this is kind of the legacy brand, right? So I've got experience in all forms of residential construction. And so I'm also exploring other opportunities that may be under different brands. But again, even with those opportunities, do I connect with the project? Do I connect with the investors or the client? And is it the right project for us? We're open to other opportunities. Richard Miller Custom Homes, will always be here as that high touch, personal tour guide through a successful high-end custom home build experience.
I love it. And then I always have one ending question,
Yeah.
mainly two, but I'll talk a lot, Richard, because I'm actually curious.
It's okay. We're already at the end.
I just wanted to be respectful of your time.
I got all day, whatever you want to do.
Well, yeah, I want to talk about AI before we end.
Yeah, let's do it.
As far as this, in my opinion, this has been a crazy year from the government shutdown, the pivoting with AI. There's a lot going on in business just because I've been doing this for over 10 years.
Okay.
There's just a lot of switches going on.
Yeah.
How are you pivoting in this next generation of business?
Yeah.
How are you switching it up?
That's a great question. Interesting story. So I was the first generation of kids to have some sort of computer in first grade. So it was just this big brick of a computer with a green screen. And we learned how in first grade, how to do basic programming to make a line go this way, right?
Yeah.
I am the first generation of that.
Yeah.
And so
Time has changed. Time has
yeah,
changed.
so I grew up kind of marinated in the possibilities of that. And so I am probably one of the most technology forward builders in Dallas. At the Fortune 500 company on nights and weekends, I created an IT deal forum that helped increase efficiency there. I've just always tried to be on the forefront of technology, back to trying to duplicate yourself and trying to be more efficient, right? Like that's the, I can nerd out with it, but, is it saving me time and making money, or am I just nerding out and it's costing me money and making everybody's job harder? But with AI, I'm actively trying to integrate as much of that as makes sense in my business.
I think it's a no-brainer that business owners do it. Because if they don't pivot, usually their businesses are just going to get left behind.
Yeah.
So I've been basically helping my clients break out their systems so they know where to implement AI and different onboarding processes.
Yeah. That's
right.
That's great, especially with builders. Back in 2004, there were builders that were scared of email. Some may still be. Builders in general are not the first to take stuff up, but they will listen to a good business argument and data.
Right. So I know they're not typing emails like that.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, man, with AI, I think it's just a game changer that every business owner needs to look into. So one of my next questions, being 20 years vet in your industry, what's some things you wish you would have changed at the beginning that you didn't?
Oh,
and end up kind of like, body in the behind and say, oh man, okay, I'll pay for that one.
yeah, that's a great question. And, really when you're hiring a builder, you're hiring a guy that's already made all the mistakes, right? And will show you where those are. Most of my clients are very intelligent, more intelligent than I am. And they think about construction and they're like, oh, I can think my way through this. I'll watch a few YouTube videos. And they do not realize that as far as falling into traps, they probably know more about brain surgery in context of what they're actually getting into than a residential construction process. And so that's why it's so important to have a guide. But what was your question again? I forgot the question.
What would you tell your younger self to change so you don't make the same mistakes?
Sure. Yeah. So actually, I would tell my younger self, because for a long time in my career, when you first start a career, go into it with, you don't have any experience, right? You first start. You go into it with the brains that you've got and your ability to work hard, right? And I took that energy farther into my career than I needed to. So by the time I had gotten the experience and the accolades or whatever, I was still showing up with that same hard charging, look at me kind of energy. I could have dropped that a lot sooner and been a lot more successful.
So it was like the ego kind of shut you down from closing more deals?
I didn't recognize it as ego. I would say it had more of a feel of insecurity, or this is what I think you need to see a good builder. Let me project what I think you need to see instead of showing up and being like, I don't have anything to prove. If you'd like peace of mind, that's what I offer. If you don't, that's totally cool. I'm going to connect with you during this meeting.
So at the beginning, I feel like we have the same path, just different industries in a way. But it's almost like at the beginning, sometimes you fake it in order to portray what the client wants to see.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you want to put points on the board, right? And I did. It doesn't matter. But I put points on the board with no experience and with the brains that I came with and my hustle. But I took that same energy farther than it was necessary into my career.
Hey, now you're naturally yourself now. Is able to help you close more deals.
Yeah, I'm 100%. Yeah, I'm 100% myself. And again, it's just being honest with whether I'm the right builder for you.
It looks like.
Yeah.
I was going to say, it looks like your business is more just like a people sport. How many people can you relate to?
Yeah. And, we can't serve everybody. I'm not big enough to take every project, but I will say that since I've dropped that kind of energy and really am just myself and just connect, that my experience is there. That experience and that guidance is there. I have found it to be a much more successful strategy and more enjoyable for everybody.
Yeah, I'm definitely glad to hear it. It's good when business is just relaxing and it's kind of just naturally who you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it makes it fun and then very rewarding too as well, because you are building, people's greatest investment.
Exactly. Yeah, and I take it real seriously.
Well, anything you want to leave the listeners with, Richard?
I know it's Thanksgiving. This may not come out at Thanksgiving, but I just want to encourage the listeners to enjoy their day to day. Have a happy Thanksgiving if that's around this time. but to just relax and enjoy your day. That's all I got.
Well, Richard, it was a pleasure having you. I honestly had a great conversation with you.
Man,
I'll talk to you again.
I really enjoyed it.
Pleasure. Well, guys, that's the end of More Than a CFO podcast. Once again, my name is Christian Onyman. I'm an author of the IRS Breaking Press. Please grab a copy. And then also a CPA and a CFO of many businesses. I look forward to our next podcast. And once again, thank you, Richard.
Thank you.